Twins drop game 2 in extras after that legendary, epic, historic game 1 comeback last night. Full deep dive coming up next. Minnesota Twins postcast.
This is the Twins postcast. Your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins postcast episode right here. Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. That's your team every day. Luke Inman, at Luke_Spinman. Got my main man, Sweet Lou Hennesey. He's on X. Give him a follow. At Sweet Lou MN, Twins expert over at Zone Coverage MN. Lou, before we get into game 2 tonight, gotta talk about what we witnessed last night. Epic comeback for the ages. Truly historic. Breaking records. Twins down 3 in the 9th inning, down to their final out, facing, by the way, the best closer in baseball, right? Willie Castro, 2-run bomb. So now you're down 1. Trevor Larnach with the game-tying single with 2 outs. We go to the 10th. Correa kicks that off with the 2-run homer. Then it's Buxton, Larnach, a couple more clutch RBIs. I mean, it felt like everybody got in on the action in the 10th. The only team in modern era, right, to be down 3 or more runs with 2 outs in the 9th inning and end up winning by 6 or more. Never happened in the modern era of baseball. Just give me your quick thoughts, man. 30, 60 seconds, break it down. Greatest game of the season thus far for the Twins? What'd you think?
I think you got to consider this a tentpole victory for them. You know what I mean? This is one that you look back on at different points of the season being like, all right, that really picked us up. We saw that we could come back from anything here and make something work, like you said, against one of the best closers in the game. Some just really clutch hits late in the game, which I think they could have used a few more of those tonight. But while we're still talking about game 1, I just got to give a huge shout out to Zebby Matthews, who had started out, he gave up 4 earned runs right off the bat, and then settled in for 7 innings after that. I mean, it really saved the bullpen for a game just like tonight when they had to use just about everybody they had out there. So big props to Zebby. I think it was one of the biggest starts of his career for sure.
Yeah, 9 innings, just not enough for the Twins anymore, apparently, right? Lots to get into. Biggest turning point from tonight, game 3 preview. Got Chris Paddock on the mound for that one. But first, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. All right, so game 2 tonight, again, after that just wild, legendary 9th inning comeback last night. Check this out, 4-3, top 9, down to their last 2 outs. Guess who? It's Trevor Larnach again. Base hit. That scores Buxton, ties it up at 4s. Fast forward to the bottom of the 11. Twins had their chances, by the way, in extras, but bottom 11, 2 runners on. It's a fielder's choice kind of grounder that scores the game winner for the Mariners. So Twins lose this one in extras, 5-4. 31-26 now on the year, 5 games above 500. So we got 21 innings now in the last 24 hours for the Twins. Give me your biggest takeaways, kind of your 8 topics. What stuck out the most from tonight's game?
Well, my goodness, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but it felt like there was 21 different turning points in these games too. Just, you know, kind of back and forth nature of it, just momentum didn't seem to stick with any one team for too long. Tonight, unfortunately, like we said, just not enough hits later on. A couple of what we call toot blands from Matt Wallner, which is being thrown out on the base paths like a nincompoop. Unfortunately, one of them I think was certainly his fault, not getting back to second in time and getting doubled off there. Tricky play too, because if he lets that land, chances are they throw him out at third anyway. Still, you'd rather avoid the double play. And then being sent in extras, he was out by a good probably 10 feet there. That's probably, you got to think mostly on third base coach Tommy Watkins. At the same time, it is bad timing for that.
Yeah, let's get into the turning point. Perfect segue.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's funny you mention it because I thought when Wallner did get picked off late in this game, I thought, okay, maybe Sweet Lou's going to point to this one if the Twins do end up losing. But also to your point, it did feel like you could go a multitude of directions here. So from your eyes, today's biggest turning point from tonight was when and why?
if we're talking biggest turning points, it's easy to say the last play of the game in a walk-off victory like that because it's just, you're dabbling right on the line there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with J.P. Crawford's home run. And my nerdy stat that I found has a little bit to do with him. But I think that home run to put them ahead was a pretty big gut punch. And for a team that was kind of grasping for their breath at the end of the game, I think that was probably the biggest point.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
All right, we don't hand out MVPs after losses, but I can't get enough of this game one. Again, we just didn't break it down, so we got to give game one a little bit more credit. Who was the MVP from game one's just absolute historic comeback? Who was it and why?
I'll probably say Carlos Correa. He made an absolute stellar highlight, ESPN, plays of the week kind of highlight to end the game last night. And then he hit the go-ahead home run, which didn't end up necessarily mattering because they were up by, they went up by 6. But to break that tie.
It mattered at the time, though.
It did matter at the time, certainly. And he put just a really good swing on the pitch there. And honestly, he's been very stellar for them, even about a week before that injury. And since coming back, he's been, kind of the Carlos Correa that many were expecting. So hopefully it's the sign of things to come.
Can I give an honorable mention to Trevor Larnach? How good has Trevor Larnach been the last? I don't know. You tell me. During the winning streak, maybe the last 3-4 weeks, I guess 4 for 6. Yeah, with 4 ribbies and some clutch hitting in there too. By the way.
Yeah, we've just seen some, really competent at-bats from him. We saw tonight when he tied the game up. He's somebody who springs on the first pitch of at-bats, especially against relief pitchers, and you can see why. He's got 3 home runs on the year doing just that, and tonight he smashed that single through the right side to score Buxton there. So, yeah, Trevor Larnach is an integral part of what they're trying to do here for sure.
No doubt. Plenty more deep dive nerdy set of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sportsbook partner of the MLB. Right now, FanDuel's giving you a chance at a huge return. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Why I love FanDuel. When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can go check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, all on the same page where you place your bets. Again, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 bet. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Getting some MLB future action while you're there. Twins sitting at plus 160 right now to win the AL Central, all sitting up over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. All right, Sweet Lou. Nerdy stat of the day. You kind of teased it at the top. Any crazy stat or fun analytic from tonight, Twins related?
Yeah, so the bullpen for the Minnesota Twins has been, everybody knows, very, very good this year. But they've been especially good at limiting damage versus some really hot hitters. The Twins relief pitchers have allowed a slugging percentage of just .308 versus the top of the order this season. That's 3rd best in all of baseball. Unfortunately, J.P. Crawford, the leadoff hitter for the Seattle Mariners, hit that massive bomb to put them ahead in I think it was the 7th inning there. So I wish we could have seen a little bit more of that, but it just goes to show just how good everybody except maybe Jorge Alcala, maybe Cody Funderburk. The rest of the group has been very, very stellar at limiting damage here. And unfortunately, they had to go to Alcala in the 7th. I think that there's going to be some fan reaction to that. I think some folks wanted to see maybe some other arms before going to Alcala, but nevertheless, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt. Well said there. You were talking about Carlos Correa, how he's just been, ripping the seams off the ball lately. Trevor Larnach as well has been red hot. I still feel as good as this team has been this past month, rocketing back into 2nd place in the AL Central. When it does come to Royce Lewis, Carlos Correa, and Byron Buxton, right? Your big 3, right? Your big studs when you think about it on paper. Byron, by the way, just came back last night after missing 10 games with that concussion. We still haven't seen the best of this team yet, it feels like, because the pitching has definitely been their bread and butter. Oh, my gosh, has it not? Maybe top 3. I don't know. You tell me top 3 in the MLB, top to bottom maybe. But, man, Sweet Lou, what is it going to look like if those 3 big names can start clicking all at the same time for once? What's the ceiling of this team look like then?
Even without the ceiling, even if they just get back to kind of competent here, I think right now the Twins probably are in the kind of like 17, 18, 19 in the major leagues in terms of runs scored. And if, Wallner and Buxton coming back can even get them to, middle of the pack, even a little bit higher. I'm not even saying they need to be a top 10 offense. We've seen how good they can be when just being led by this pitching. But if hitting can just incrementally kind of regress towards the mean here, I think we could be in for something pretty special. But it's going to take everybody kind of getting rolling and staying healthy and staying on the field.
Yeah, well said. All right, don't go anywhere. Game 3 preview. That's all coming up right after this. Tonight's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks. There we go. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 10 million members to date. And for me and my money, it's just by far the easiest, most exciting way to get in all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. So simple, too. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more players' stats. Watch the winnings roll in. Strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, stolen bases. You name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, game 3 tomorrow, the rubber match here. Chris Paddock gets the call. What's just simplify it for us? What's the number one thing you're thinking about or looking at as far as the Twins trying to win this series and stay hot?
Well, they're going to be facing a pretty tough righty in Luis Castillo, who's probably been one of the better right-handed arms in terms of starting pitching in the American League over the past few years. He's got some absolutely nasty stuff. So what they're going to need is they're going to need some of their lefty bats to really step up here. Like you said, Trevor Larnach's been stellar. We'd love to see Matt Wallner hit another bomb so that he can jog around the bases instead of having to figure out when to tag up. We're going to talk about Brooks Lee and the bottle rocket, Cody Clemens, making his presence known too. So let's see more of those lefties make their presence known against Castillo tomorrow.
What else is going on around the league, or maybe in the AL Central, maybe just in the AL? We're 2.5 months into the season now, a little bit bigger sample size, still a long way to go, obviously. But I like to check in with you guys once every couple of weeks. What's maybe surprised you the most as of late? Maybe for good, maybe for bad, a specific team, a specific player, even whatever it may be.
Well, how about this? I'll tell you what the other game that I was watching tonight, besides the Twins, the Dodgers and the Yankees have their rematch from the World Series last year, and the Dodgers won like 1 billion to 1 tonight or something like that. Kike Hernandez closed it out for them because they're like, we're not going to throw any real arms out there. We're going to save our bullpen because we're already up 14 runs. That's been a really fun series. Shohei Ohtani is starting to pitch to live hitters, so he could be returning to the mound in the matter of maybe a few weeks, couple months maybe. So I'm going to keep an eye on the Los Angeles Dodgers.
How good has Aaron Judge been so far this season? Like put it into perspective for us. I grew up late 90s kid, Ken Griffey, Barry Bonds, Frank the Tank Thomas, the Big Hurt, all those guys, young A-Rod. What is Aaron Judge doing right now these first 2 months of the season?
Oh, goodness. He's been just prolific. He's been fantastic. I feel like he's had a few of these campaigns already where it's just like, oh, this is going to be the best offensive season of the last 25 years. And he's already had like 3 of them in the last 4 years. So
crazy.
He's been truly legendary, a giant among men. So he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time, I think.
But what kind of pace is he on? What kind of pace? Home runs, goodness. Batting average, RBIs? It feels like his whole thing is just staying healthy. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always the talent's always been there, and now he's kind of refined his swing even more so. Yeah. But it's just staying healthy for him, right?
I think, preseason, I think that his over under in home runs was probably somewhere in like the low 50s, and it's already looking like he's going to shatter that. So you said, he's got to stay on the field. But if he's healthy and he's on the field, I think he's going to be in that territory of 50, 60 home run seasons here.
Unbelievable. Twins fall short in game 2 tonight, 31-26 now on the year, 5 games above 500. Huge shout out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game. Make sure you like and subscribe. Please go check out Lou's work on X at SweetLouMN, plus all the work he's always ripping up over at ZoneCoverageMN.com as well. Anything new as of late, we can go check out that you've been working on Twins related, by the way.
Yes, at Zone Coverage, I believe it came out yesterday. I had a little piece talking about two of the shortstop prospects that are in the Twin system who are absolutely killing it. A first rounder, Kalen Culpepper from last year, and the
Culpepper boy,
the guy
Kansas
that they
State.
picked,
Kansas State?
exactly,
Yeah.
former Wildcat. And then the other is somebody who they picked like 10 picks later in Kyle DeBarge. So please go check that out.
Love that. Can't wait to check that out. Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. Game 3 tomorrow, the rubber match, 3:05 first pitch. Chris Paddock on the mound. We'll catch you right here. Same time, same place. Until then, sign in.